Good afternoon and welcome to Tea Time. My name is Giselle.
And I'm Laura. And today at Tea Time we have two very special guests on our show who are transgender.
And in this show we'll not only talk about what it means to be transgender, but we also want to break down the taboos. And let's first take a look at what it's like to be transgender and live in the Netherlands.
LGBTQ Transgender. 1 in 250 people is a transgender in the Netherlands. 13% of the Dutch population is against surgeries and hormone treatments. 29% of the Dutch population thinks there is something wrong about people who are not clearly a man or woman. But we want to change this because all humans are equal and deserve the same respect.
And now that we have a little more background information on what it's like to be a trans woman or man living in the Netherlands, we want to welcome our guests. But first, let's take a look at who these guests are.
This is Eva. She is 70 years old and did her transition to become a woman only 9 years ago. And this is Emma, who is 47 years old and did her transition last summer. The two are a transgender couple that have been married for 5 years now. Before they got married, they were both living as a man. They finally ended up together, living happier than ever before.
So first of all, thank you so much for taking your time to be here today. And you've been together for 5 years now. If you look at each other, what do you see?
Someone beautiful, lovely. Well, she's still amazing. She's the second perfect woman that I know in my life. And she still looks like and is perfect.
And who's the first perfect woman?
I used to be married to a woman for over 40 years. She doesn't live any longer. I'm sorry, she died. But it was a perfect marriage, and it's rare, I think, that you have that a second time in your life. And I found that with Emma.
That's really beautiful. And your first wife, you lived with her as a man, is that correct?
Most of the time, yes.
And
yes.
What was that like?
It wasn't difficult. I mean, it had nothing to do with my marriage or with her. It was my life, and there were certain funny things that I experienced. But who doesn't experience funny things? So I didn't really think about it, what could be wrong. That came later, too late, from my point of view.
Because when did you realize that there was something different happening?
Well, there was this moment. We were married for about a week or 2 weeks, I don't remember, and we were standing in front of her closet, and she gave me her clothes. I don't remember, was it her idea, was it my idea? And I put her clothes on, and that gave a certain feeling of which I thought, there's something wrong about this. I shouldn't do this again, never. So I put them off, and I tried to forget it. I attempted to forget it, and I managed, more or less, for decades, until it came back. It came racing back.
That feeling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you describe what was that like? What did you
No,
feel?
you can't describe that. There's something, there has always been something that you couldn't explain, not even to yourself. And then suddenly you realize, I'm not a man. This is stupid. And, well, then things go fast, very fast. Luckily, my wife wasn't too surprised. She loved it, as a matter of fact.
That's beautiful. And you said that it came racing. And what was it like the road to transition? Did it feel good to finally start transition, or?
I was in doubt. I really was in doubt, and I knew the normal procedure is to go to the VU, Vrije Universiteit Ziekenhuis in Amsterdam. But I was in doubt, so I found another psychiatrist specialized in this matter, and I asked him a simple question: can you find out with a reasonable certainty if I'm nuts or if I'm probably transsexual? And after a few visits, he said to me, "There's no doubt, you're nuts, and you're transsexual."
And then after that, was the doubt gone, and were you like, okay? Did you accept yourself after going to this person?
Yes, I did. There was some hesitation with my wife, Elizabeth, and she was wondering if it was wise to go through the whole transition. I mean, I wasn't 20 anymore, and risk of complications after surgery were rather high in comparison to younger people. So we've been discussing that, and nevertheless I started the transition, and there was a moment when I got to a studio where a lady transformed me, literally. If you in a studio you could buy clothes, women's clothes, etc. And I put them on, and she taught me how to make up myself. And I needed a wig those days. She had a wig, and my wife, Elizabeth, was standing beside me, and she saw her husband changing to her wife. And then it was okay for the both of us. Yeah. That was a very special moment.
Yeah, I can imagine that you really appreciate that moment, because for that, I mean...
It was the summit of my transition.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. Not the surgery. That's what a lot of people think, but that was just finishing the job.
And for you, do you also have that story about how you got here at our table?
Well, my story was a bit different. I was different. I always knew I was different, but I didn't have any clue what was going on, why I was different. And in the first couple of years, it was obvious. My parents were the first of their generation to have a child. That was me. And then when other children were born in the family, they were all girls. Turned out that I was the smartest of them. So, yeah, I was different. Of course, I was. Sure, why not? And then it took a lot of time to find that there were more reasons for being different. But in those days, I wasn't even aware of what exactly was going on. And as far as I understood a couple of things, like some things I liked about the clothes that some of the girls in my class were wearing. Yeah, I wasn't even allowed to think about it, I thought. So I put it away, and yeah, that made it difficult to really find out what was going on. And then we had in the 80s the AIDS epidemic, and all of the information was about being gay and safe sex and safe gay sex. And well, that's not me. Okay, then I'm not gay. Well, okay, I am.
But did you feel guilty because you said you were the only man back then in the family? Was it guilt or? No,
not really. But yeah, it was a reason for being different. Yeah, okay. I was the only boy, I thought. Everyone thought that I was the only boy. It turned out to be wrong, of course. And it took me until my 20s, I think, until I found out that yeah, there was more woman inside me than man. And then it took me quite some time to really recognize, come out for it. And then I was 28, I think, and I met someone. I was still unsure whether I should really come out with it or not. And into a relationship with her, and she had children, and school was literally 50 meters away. And we thought it would be better to pretend I was normal, and that was very safe for me and for everyone. So I did that. And that lasted until, 5 years ago, I think. And then I really came out. And then everything went quite fast. The relationship already had ended. But it went fast, and I met Eva.
Yes.
And was it difficult to pretend to be normal all this time?
In the beginning, I was very good at it, and it doesn't really make you a strong person, because inside you're hiding a lot of things. And I was very quiet, silent, didn't really speak out unless you crossed a certain border when I had to, and then it wasn't very nice. I was a nice person, nevertheless, but you didn't want to see me angry, because when I finally got to the point to be angry and speaking for myself, then it was too late already. So, I think that lasted for 5 or 6 years that I successfully put it away, and then it surfaced every time. A lot of transgender people recognize that they want to come out. They try to hide it first, and they buy clothes and stuff, and the male to female transgenders, they buy makeup and everything, and they try something, and then because of all the guilt they're feeling, they throw it away, and then it's quiet for a couple of months, and then they regret it and buy everything again. It's a cycle, it's a circle that they're turning.
Yeah. I think that also events like Pride can help people to express themselves among other people. And also within this community, there's a lot of differences and towards labels, because obviously people tend to put people with a label. But that's why we sent our reporter to the Pride in Brussels, and she asked people what they think about labels.
Hi, my name is Sunny, and today we're at Gay Pride in Brussels. Not being a part of the community can be kind of confusing about what's happening in it. I didn't know until recently that there were multiple letters after LGBT. Let's find out what these letters stand for. Can I ask you who you are?
I'm Lucy.
My name is Nicolas.
Hi, I'm Diana von Dirty.
Diana von Dirty.
Who I am?
Yeah.
I am Fabrice.
And which one of the letters are you?
I'm gay.
I identify as a heterosexual female.
How you identify?
A human.
I am gay man from Brussels.
And how do you feel about labels?
Oh, I think in our society labels are way too present, if that makes sense. And I think that's why we're all here, because labels are something we don't really need. And you identify as what you want, not especially as what society labels you as.
For me, that's no problem to being labeled, because to me, having a label, sometimes it makes it easier to understand what you're talking about. So for me, labels, if not misused, that's okay.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about the community?
How?
And what is the biggest misconception about this community?
That's a good question. Just because I'm heterosexual doesn't mean I can't be part of the community. I think I can be and be there for my friends and even everyone here. So I think that's the misconception, that people think that we can't be there, but we can.
I think that a lot of people think that we have chosen to be different, of that we've chosen what our life is, but that's not so. We are born like this, and that's our life, and so we have to live like like this.
This community isn't only about labels, it is about accepting people the way they are. And I think we should do that also, do that towards the community. That was it for me. I'm gonna enjoy this party now.
So, we heard it about labels. There's a lot of different opinions, and I personally feel like sometimes we might hold on to them too tightly, because for me, I identify as queer. I don't really feel like a man, but also not like a woman. But a lot of what you tell about your experiences, it really touches me, because I have a lot of the same, like, you know, shying away and putting it away at first, and then coming back to it and realizing like, oh, I can't hide it anymore. So that was really touching to me. And what do you feel about labels? Do you feel like it's good to have them, or does it?
For a lot of people, it's safe to have a label. What I see on the forum we run is that people like to hold on to them because it allows them to explain to the people around them what they might be. On the other hand, there are so many different labels and labels within labels. They don't fit for everyone. And if someone feels okay to be labeled, that's fine, I think. Exactly. But we should leave that to the people themselves. If you don't want to be labeled, very good. And if you feel safe, go ahead.
But don't let anyone force you into a label or under a label.
That's the same thing you see with one part of the transgender community, the transsexuals, like us. I feel very safe to say I'm a woman. But it's not okay to force people who were born as a boy to transition to 100% woman if they don't want to. And that's what people still expect.
And do you know if also within the VU, if that's still happens, or are they very open and?
They have come a long way, but they're not there yet. In the past, you had to follow this whole transition completely. If you dared to mention at the beginning that you only would go halfway, for example, you would go for the hormone replacement therapy and then quit, you were sent away. That's not too long ago. Recently, in recent years, they are slowly changing and starting to understand that there's people who don't want to follow the whole track and don't need to follow it. And that there's a lot of positions in between.
Yeah, and that's for the people who don't really like the labels, of course, but there's also a lot of people who still target, because it's a minority group you label yourself with, and that's why people might see it as a target. And
yes, exactly, that's true. And we'll talk more about being a target because you are a minority, but first we'll have a short break. Let's take a look.
This program is sponsored by Albert Heijn Brabantplein. Within our Albert Heijn, we offer a variety of healthy food. Let's take a look. With the amount of products we have, you can be certain that you'll find exactly what you need. The friendly personnel is always there to help. Luckily, for students from the NHTV, it's only a 400-meter walk to the Albert Heijn. We hope to see you soon at Albert Heijn Brabantplein.
Hi and welcome back to Tea Time. Before the break, we've been talking about the different attitudes within the same LGBT community towards labels. But there's also a group outside the community that hold a very strong opinion towards them.
Exactly, that's true. Because even though the Netherlands praises themselves for being such a tolerant country, even here there are still crimes happening against trans people.
And our dear friends from Venlo, Louisa and Rosanna Jansen, experienced verbal abuse as an offensive carnival song was written about them. The lyrics being that Louisa was a man and that her wish of getting a baby can be easily solved because to them she was still a man. Let's take a look at what they thought about this.
Hi, wij zijn Louisa en
Rosanna.
En wij zijn bekend van het TLC-programma Louise en Rosanne, onze transgender liefde. Ja, nou, toen ik het liedje hoorde, dacht ik echt van, wat de hel, waar gaat het over? En ik moest het echt 3 keer terugkijken om het eigenlijk te snappen waar het over ging. En ik vond het zo kwetsend op een gegeven moment. Alleen, Rosanne zei tegen mij van, daar moet je gewoon iets mee doen, dit kan je niet gewoon zo laten.
Wij willen gewoon voorkomen dat het in de toekomst ooit nog bij iemand gebeurt. Dus diegenen die hebben eigenlijk in feite een soort voorbeeldfunctie op tv en hier in de omgeving. Dus wij hebben zoiets van, die moeten gewoon echt zwaar op de vingers getikt worden.
Nou, ik heb natuurlijk geroepen na dat incident van, ik zal nooit meer, maar ook nooit meer iets doen in Venlo. Dus een optreden geven of iets presenteren. Maar wij hadden alle twee al maanden in ons hoofd zitten dat wij een regenboogzebrapad wilden openen in Venlo. Dus dat hadden we gewoon al in ons hoofd, totdat er een wethouder naar ons toe kwam, Vera Tax, die ons benaderde om dat dus samen te openen. En wij dachten eerst van, nou, moeten we het wel doen? Nou, op een gegeven moment hebben we zoiets gehad van, weet je wat, we doen het gewoon, we laten ons niet klein krijgen. Dat zebrapad wilden wij al openen en dus eigenlijk om ook te laten zien van, dit zijn wij en wij zijn gewoon niet klein te krijgen, maar daar wil ik het wel bij laten, want ik ben natuurlijk ook gevraagd om andere dingen te doen, zoals optredens, want ze willen een roze zaterdag willen ze organiseren hier in Venlo, om daar bijvoorbeeld op te treden, maar dat ga ik gewoon allemaal niet meer doen. Ik heb het regenboogzebrapad geopend en daar blijft het bij. En ik ben wel woedend, ik ben ook verdrietig op het, ja, hoe moet ik zeggen, als ik eraan denk, dan kan ik ook wel best wel verdrietig ervan worden, maar ja, dus er heerst wel veel woede in me nog steeds. Als ik het al hoor weer of ik zie ze dan, ja, dan ben ik best wel boos.
The anger of them is really understandable because a very offensive song was written. What did you hear about this? That this happened?
Yeah, I didn't hear the song, and I don't think I want to hear it now. But yeah, it's terrible. You don't want that to happen ever.
Because I can imagine that sometimes you might fear some like rejection from the society. Do you feel that, or?
Well, because people see me as a very what we call binary person. I quite look like a woman, and people don't recognize me in the way they used to. They don't see that I was born as a boy. Okay, everyone who's seen this program now knows. So then you say, okay, I can see that feature and that thing and that. But usually people don't see it, so they don't become offensive. They don't get confronted with it. But if they do, and not everyone has been as lucky as I am, and that's very hard. That they get confronted, they get shouted at, they're being called names, and it's really difficult.
And where do you think this stems from?
I don't really know. Fear, maybe fear.
I think it's mostly fear.
Yes.
Suppose you find out that you're not that perfect heterosexual person as you thought, or maybe even a gender issue. That's fear.
So,
and you want to prove, not only for the world, but for yourself, that there's nothing wrong with you. You're a perfectly normal being. No gender issue, no sexual issue. Gives you safety.
But you didn't really experience that safety, I think, or did you?
I didn't, and I don't think you did.
Not really. Well, in the beginning, I didn't look that binary yet. I was somewhere halfway. I transitioned slowly. I didn't go to where you went and get transformed at once. So I made a couple of steps and had some non-binary stages in between. And I can remember that there were people looking and shouting, but I just ignored it. And it was a short period of time, so I don't have many bad memories about that.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people who get into situations they shouldn't get in because they are transgender themselves. And we have some situations, and we're gonna take a look at the first one right now.
I already ordered some drinks.
Thanks.
I want to tell you something.
Okay, what is it?
I'm transferring the money to you.
But you just paid.
Well, actually, what I was trying to tell you,
What?
I'm transgender.
Oh.
So, can you recognize yourself in this dilemma of when to tell someone?
Well, Eva already knew, so that didn't make it any more different and more difficult. But it happens a lot, and especially for the women among us, it's difficult to tell because men are afraid. Most men think if they have sex with a transgender woman that they're gay or something, and of course that's not true. You just fall in love with a person, and it's in most of those cases it's a woman. Don't be afraid if she's lovely and kind to you. Be kind to her and love her. And you're not gay. You're yourself and whatever.
Exactly. So there's still like a stigma around that.
Yeah, there is.
Okay. And we have another sketch with another situation. So let's take a look at that now.
Are you sure you're in the right bathroom?
Well, yes, of course.
Well, I doubt that. What's even in your pants?
Oh, that.
Oh my god. Fuck. What's that? Oh my god. What the?
Now, this is, you can imagine this seems funny, but I can imagine when this question is asked to you, you must feel, I don't know, yeah.
It's the classic question. Did you have surgery yet? And basically, you're asking what I say in the sketch. What's in your pants? I'm not asking you, I'm not asking you, I'm not asking anyone here. That's not, it's none of my business, why should I ask? So, yet, because of the obsession of most of the people with surgeries and everything, they think that surgery makes you a man or a woman, which it doesn't. It's in your head. You already are, and that's. And basically, that's the other thing. Being in that bathroom, of course.
Because did you ever encounter a situation like this, if I may ask?
Yes.
I did not.
You didn't? No.
No.
I did. I've been in doubt, just like he was, and just standing in front of the bathroom and think, okay, where should I go? I look like a woman, and then still I was in doubt, and I didn't dare to go in. So I went to the men's room, and they were looking. Okay, men are more used to women running into their bathroom because it's almost everywhere. It's busy in the ladies' room, so they go to the men's, and the other way around, it's more difficult. So when I wasn't that sure of myself, I still went to the men's room, and then a friend of mine, not Eva, Annette, she said, "No, you can't go in there anymore." She took me and pulled me in, and that was the moment for me to switch.
And how did it feel to finally be able to make that switch?
Very good. Just, yeah, it was a bit awkward at times. I once went to the bathroom with my daughter. My son was in the men's room, of course, and she was sitting next to me in a different stall, and she heard someone else fart in the bathroom, and then she shouted, "Daddy, did you fart?" And there were other people in the bathroom, and it got quiet suddenly. It got completely quiet. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to answer. And then she asked again, and it didn't answer, and then everyone went out. But it was a bit awkward.
I can imagine, but did you manage to...
Yeah, well, I had a chat with her at a certain point, and she herself felt that it was a bit strange to ask that question at that moment. Of course, I'm still her daddy. That's something that doesn't change. Of course, I didn't carry her around for 9 months, so I'm not her mother. I'm not going to call myself her mother. I'm not going to do that. But then she said, "What can I do?" I said, "Well, you're allowed to call me by my first name if you want to." Oh, so after that moment, she occasionally, when it's seemed better to her, she called me Emma instead of Daddy.
That's very beautiful, I think. And especially when people have their opinions on it, we all, I think, believe that we're all different, and we all have our different perspectives. And I really think that there's a beauty when we come together, embrace these differences, and move forward as one. I think you also with Team Nederland really empower that message.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can you tell a bit more about Team Nederland and what you do with that?
Team Nederland consists of mainly is a forum, an internet forum. Some people think that's old-fashioned, but it works. We have over 960 forum members who communicate with each other, and sometimes you have a small clash. So you do need to do some moderation, but usually they find support and gather courage. What we see for the last couple of years now is that small groups of people are coming together throughout the country, in all places, in public. While in the past it was quite a habit to come together once a month, for example, in a quiet, not in public, but behind closed doors, behind closed curtains, and that doesn't help anyone. Team Nederland tries to find ways to get people out, come out into the world, That's where we belong, that's where you belong. Get back to work, get back to study, and live together with us. We try to give them the courage, the power. And we're there when they need to, well, when they need a listening person. That's what helps too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think by sharing stories and creating these people you can look up to, and by inspiring others, you can really help each other and come together. And you at home, you can also check our Facebook page from I Am Possible. There's a lot of stories on there from people from the community who shared how they came over their struggles and all kinds of beautiful stories.
Exactly. And also be sure to check out our colleagues in Flagstaff and Bournemouth, because they made their own beautiful shows as well. I think this is a really beautiful conclusion so far, so I want to thank everyone in the audience for being here today. I want to thank everyone in Hilversum. I want to thank the watchers at home. And of course, I want to thank you for being here.
We're very grateful that you shared your story with us.
Exactly.
So
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.